Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it. Greetings, Algo Artisans Cowboy here. It is the Sunday, June 22nd market forecast, market update, and we have a lot going on in the news especially. So the charts that we're going to look at today are going to be NASDAQ, USDJPY, BTC-USD, that's Bitcoin, EURUSD, AUDUSD, GBPJPY, otherwise known as the Beast, and gold. All right, so before we jump into the charts, take a look at the bottom of the screen. It says get your free algo, links in the description. Go in there, click the link, put a fake name, real name, we don't care. Put your email address. We will give you an algo right away. We'll also put you on a list where I'm going to send you an invite to the one and only free workshop that I'm going to do. You're going to watch me trade for a couple days in the next several weeks. I haven't chosen a date yet. The workshops will be paid after that. The first one is free. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the economic data coming out this week and the news itself. And we'll actually start with that news. So here we are on Zero Hedge. They're talking about how the U.S. strikes on Iran unfolded. And there's a lot of information in here that we could go over. But suffice it to say, a couple of stealth bombers were sent over a nuclear power plant that is very difficult to destroy. It's built underneath a mountain. Now, there are a lot of different things being said in the news, and it's only been 24-ish hours since it happened. So there's kind of a 48-hour rule that I have before I really talk about any news because a lot's not known. But from what I'm able to glean, we used bunker busters. And the thing about bunker busters is they go down under the earth deep to destroy things. The idea was to destroy this nuclear facility where they are enriching uranium. Okay, not a power plant per se, but an uranium enriching facility as far as we know, and from what I've read, the bunker busters are not strong enough to destroy this. However, they sent the bunker busters anyway because the only other option we know of would be nuclear. We're not going to drop nukes on Iran, hopefully. And so all of this is translating to Iran is upset. They're going to close the Strait of Hormuz. They may have already done it by now. So this is going to push markets into a major tizzy, right? So there's no need to really go into the details of the event because we don't even know what's happened yet. Any of the information we're getting is questionable at best. So what I'm going to do is we're going to jump into the economic data. We're going to take a look at the actual news we know is coming based on timing, and we're going to take a look at these charts and we're going to go from there. And we're going to remember that a lot of the charts we're talking about now are very unpredictable because of this headline risk. So here we go. As we go through these events, remember that whatever charts we talk about are just based on what the algos say and what these events might do. And headline risk is a huge risk right now. So take today's report with a grain of salt. I'm just going to map it out as the algos say. We're going to go from there. So early in the morning, about an hour and 15 minutes after the European Open, we have all the PMI data coming out for Europe and GBP a little after that at 4:30 a.m. EST. We've got US PMI data coming out at 9:45 a.m. after the Open. So the opening's probably going to be wild, the New York Open. Probably going to be pretty wild. And then this data is going to come out and add volatility to the market. So it might be a good Monday to trade after that time of day. On Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. EST, Canada releases its CPI data. That'll be big for people trading the loonie. 10 a.m. EST, Governor Bailey speaks. That's the Bank of England affecting the British pound. Fed Chair Powell testifies at the same time. So it might be tricky to trade during that time. I might wait until after 10 or 11 a.m. EST to trade any Forex charts or any charts at all. All I really trade these days is Forex, maybe a little crypto. 9:30 p.m. EST, Australia talks about its CPI. Wednesday, 10 a.m. EST, Fed Chair Powell testifies again. So perhaps after 10 a.m. EST might be a good time to trade once he's done talking and the market has absorbed whatever he has said. Thursday, we've got Governor Bailey speaking again, and that's at 7 a.m. EST, so that'll affect the British pound. Shortly thereafter, at 8:30 a.m. EST, we have the U.S.'s GDP quarter over quarter. That's a big number, and employment claims, which is every week, so that can affect all of the markets everywhere. Friday at 8:30 a.m., we have Canadian news, their GDP month over month, and then the USD Core PCE Price Index. That's an inflation metric, and that's actually the inflation metric I'm told that the Fed really looks at when they're talking about what they're going to do with their next interest rate decision. So that's the news this week. Let's go ahead and jump into the charts, and we will start with NASDAQ. So NASDAQ opened down as expected. We're kind of scared of World War III, and so a lot of people will sell off. But this is the futures market, so it's not necessarily the huge money coming in on a Monday morning, but at least the opening, sure, it was a big gap down. It's come back up. It might even fill that gap, but I do expect a slide down this week. I also made some room for a Monday morning open surprise. So the supports where price is not going to want to go down past where it might bounce, might be a short bounce, but it might bounce at 21,475. 195 or so. And then we have a pretty strong support here given a lot of price action in the past, down around 21,080. So price may make its way down there and bounce. Now, whether that bounce sustains or not, we'll see. And again, a lot of it's going to have to do with what comes out Monday or Tuesday. And I think by Tuesday, if not Monday, we're going to have a lot more clarity on what's going on. We might be a little bit surprised at things cooling off. I get the feeling they are going to cool off. And I can't really talk about why I think that. That is what I think based on some things I am hearing. Let's go ahead and move on to USDJPY. Okay, strong open, gapping back down. The USDJPY was bullish, dollar being bullish. Now the JPY, I'd imagine, would get strong if the stock market is falling, but it looks like a lot of money is moving towards the USD these days. The USDJPY has been strongly bullish back to last Thursday. Move up, I don't think will be sustained past maybe 148, 149 yen, but we're going to see about that. But I think it's going to grind up. It will need to make its way past this local resistance of 147.14, but then I think it will just kind of make its way up to that 148.70 or so. Let's move on to Bitcoin. Bitcoin did fall as expected with the news. It's coming back up though, so it found some support right at 98,000, which was what I expected. I told my clients this morning when I got up and I started looking at charts and price was still well above 100,000, I did say, hey, it's probably going to break below 100,000 and go down to 98. And that is exactly what it did. And I drew a chart and it did pretty much what I said. It just did it a lot faster than what I said would do. That's what you have with Algo Factory, right? I see things that are going to happen. I say, I think this is what's going to happen. And then people can take that information and do what they will with it, their own research and all that. So that said, I think Bitcoin has more down to go. I think it was going to go down anyway. I think this news gave it a reason to fall. It may make its way up to about 102,000 to grab some liquidity. You can notice if I zoom out, you see how many times price kind of bounced there or hung out in that area. So I think it may come up to grab a little more liquidity right here. Might even surprise up to scare some bulls in, but maybe in this news environment it won't, and it'll head back down. So this little second arrow up here that I drew, I'll zoom in on that. That little second arrow up is maybe just an attempt of a bull trap, or the market turns around, or look, headlines can change this really, really quickly, but I do think Bitcoin high time frame needs to take a break, and I think ultimately needs to go down to 93. So what you're seeing on the screen, these blue boxes are where price does not necessarily want to go, right? It may want to go up here, but it's already been there up between 103, 104, but it doesn't want to go down past 95,000. And now it may want to go to 93,000. So anywhere between 89 and 93, it really wants to go there. It's got a sort of a buffer zone where it kind of doesn't want to go down below 95, but it may want to go to 93 more than it doesn't want to go to 95, if you take my meaning. So it may bounce here, or it may just break right through that, or any combination of those things. It might bounce up, gain a little action here, and then just break down too. You know, it could do that as well. So there's a lot of wiggle room in how this could go, right? So I'll go ahead and just add that in there. I didn't want to have too many lines on here confusing people, but this really could happen. It could bounce up, grab liquidity at 97 or 98, head down to 93. So we'll see about it. It might not even go down that far. I had it kind of hanging out really between 95 and 97 before the end of the week. You're just going to have to see how volatile things get with the news. Let's take a look at EURUSD. So EURUSD gapped down pretty hard and then made that gap back up, right? So it really came back up. It gapped down to this support right here, which is roughly $114.50, made its way up to 114, almost 115. And right now, I think it's going to flatten out and head down. This is what the algos want. I think you're going to see this come back down, maybe find some support at 113.73, maybe bounce up, maybe not. It might just break down. Again, if the news is strong enough, we might see it really crash down. There's always the Monday morning open surprise. I didn't account for that in this chart. That could really do anything. I think if anything, it would crush it downwards. So if I were really to try to draw that, it might be like something like this. Price just kind of crashes down. But I think you'll eventually see it go below 113.73. I think that's what's going to happen. And kind of an orderly move down, unless the news is really bad. I kept AUDUSD on the chart because it is just so darn tradable. This is on the 3-hour time frame, but it's really pretty orderly. And I think what you're going to see here is it's bullish, but I think it needs to gather a little bit of steam before it moves back up. And I mean, it's high time frame bullish. So I think we're going to see AUDUSD. It's opened down pretty low. It gapped down with the news. I think it's going to start going sideways and just a slight tilt down, but it might be orderly enough to trade. We might be able to grab some trades inside of those moves. So I left it on the chart. Let's look at GBPJPY, the beast. I have this really just heading up. The JPY pairs seem to do that right now. They just have kind of an upward slant to them just to grind up. Resistance at 198.25 yen. So right now it may need to kind of consolidate below the current resistance, which is 196.75. I had a feeling it might just break above, but it's Sunday, things are quiet, so price might need to rotate around here below 196.73 before it heads up. Maybe the Monday morning open might be when that happens. It's really hard to say. You know, that would look something like this and then just start to make its way up. So let's take a look at gold. Now, gold's going to be real difficult to predict this week. Now, the algos originally had a move down, and if we were to follow those algos, really, I would expect it to maybe go up a little bit here and then just start to head down towards 32.85 or so. That would be what I would expect from the algos, but we're in the middle of what a lot of people think is the possible beginning of World War III. So that said, really a lot of things could happen, and this is a very messy chart, and I don't like how messy this is, right? So I'm going to change the color of this one so you know it's like the algo chart, and this is one of the charts where I would kind of ignore the algo because the news and gold being so sensitive to geopolitical events, I'd watch out for gold. It could really do anything, and it depends on whether we escalate, de-escalate. Again, I expected the price to kind of slowly move down, but right now I would venture to guess it's going to maybe try to grab the high, maybe not be able to. I wouldn't trade gold right now. I would wait until Monday opens, we get a little more clarity on what's going on. I wouldn't touch gold. And quite frankly, that applies to a lot of charts right now. Trading in this environment is pretty tricky, pretty dangerous. Of course, I called it out pretty well for Algo Factory this morning, and that is what we do. We teach people how to use the information on the chart to predict where price is going to go. And when you can predict where price is going to go, you can extract money from the market. You can do it on quite a regular basis. You're not always going to win, but you're going to probably win more often than you lose. If you have a successful algo, you will win more often than you lose, and you will win bigger than when you lose as well. So come on over to algofactory.tech, get the free algo down there in the description, click on the link, put your name, real name, fake name, we don't care, put an email address, and we'll put you on the list as well to remind you when these updates come out. And if you have a chart that you want to see, just go ahead and ask for it in the YouTube comments. I'll be happy to address that for you. We can do requests. Otherwise, we hope to see you bright and early Tuesday morning on YouTube and Rumble and X, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8:30 a.m. EST, and we should have a little more clarity, hopefully, by that time to be able to give, a better forecast at that time. So thanks for watching. We'll see you then.